Hello again, everyone. John Flynn here from Flynn Real Estate, serving Southern Ontario, based out of the Niagara region. Thank you all once again for tuning in and watching. I would like to say this week, things seem like they're getting pretty interesting, and I think they're going to get even more interesting moving forward into the near future. Besides, the sale prices declining right now, whether it's a seasonal thing or not, I have a few more news articles here to kind of show you what I mean by that statement. And then I'm going to get into some really interesting data right after that. So the first news article from investing.com, I saw a similar article on another news outlet. I can't remember if it was Financial Post or somewhere, but anyway, higher income Canadians turn to Habitat for Humanity as housing prices skyrocket. As the Canadian housing market grows increasingly less affordable, it's quite a sign of times that Habitat for Humanity, a charity that typically serves underprivileged demographics in acquiring accommodation, is now serving Canadians with an annual income of over $100,000. So, wow, yeah, 100,000, six figures. I earned six figures. That used to be a big statement. And now, they have to turn to Habitat for Humanity, some families. I bet you many families would if they could qualify. But it's pretty outrageous that good earning or good income earning families need to turn to charities to, afford a house nowadays. But that's, again, like they said, it's a sign of the times. Here's another one from the Financial Post. Immigration pushing housing, healthcare to the breaking point. Trudeau's immigration policies have put a significant strain on large urban areas such as Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. And I'm sure you've heard stories or seen stories with, students living in tents, people, nurses living in vans. But yeah, it's unaffordable, and it is being pushed to the breaking point. So not a good situation, especially in those bigger cities with the higher price points. And from Radio Canada, multiple ministers being dropped from cabinet in upcoming shuffle, sources say. And there's even been talk of an election being called, but right now it looks like the housing minister is going to be on the chopping block, along with the immigration minister. And I think one of them have said that they're even going to call it quits after this. So they're going to resign because they're going to have their pension and live happily ever after, especially the housing minister. He's got some rental properties to fall back on as long as they don't lose too much value. And yeah, as for Mr. Trudeau, I guess at the end of the day, all of the people renting that wish they could own, they are a diverse group of people. So he'll be happy about that. Everyone's been included, and it is a diverse bunch of Canadians that can't afford homes. So I think that, that'll be a win for him. So moving on to the next subject, which came to me when I was sitting in the room. I said, let's revisit this. I was sitting at the Toronto Real Estate Board taking mandatory courses because I had recently joined a month or two ago. And of course, I had to sit there and do my mandatory learning. I won't say any more about it. But anyway, I said, let's revisit these agents, because I was surrounded by almost 100 agents, or however many were in the room. Looked like there was around 100. And I said, let's revisit that income situation with agents, and of course, how it's going to drop now. There's more agents, there's less homes for sale. Yeah, prices were up compared to 5 years ago, but I said, let's look at the numbers and see how much of a pay cut these agents will be taking. So I want to go over the data and how I got this data, and we'll look at the average wages at the end and how much they have declined. So all of the data I'm using from either CREA or Stats Canada, and here is the CREA forecast. So I'm using for the 2023 their forecast, because I am forecasting for 2023 also. So this is where I got that data. In their most recent forecast, they say some 464,000 properties are forecast to trade hands via Canadian MLS system in 2023. Now, I think last time I did this, I didn't include new homes because a lot of new homes aren't on the Canadian MLS systems. It's hard to kind of say how many are, but I put a 60% number because in certain areas there's more and in other areas there's less. Recently in Ontario, there haven't been tons of builders, or sorry, I should say in the last 2 years, because they didn't need to have them on MLS for sales. They could just, email market to realtors, and they would bring their investors and clients and whoever else. So I had to turn to the CMHC statistics, and this is where I'm getting this. Here's a quick chart, and you can see I'm going with the housing completions because that's typically when realtors get paid, or they get paid the bulk of their commission. And that's down at the bottom, which has been fairly consistent. But I'm going to return to this chart at the end because there's some things I want to point out on this chart. And next, to compile the income data, we're going to need the total number of agents. And you can see it started off around 98,000 back in 07. We were up to 155,000 at the end of 2022. And right now, Korea is claiming there's over 160,000. So we're going to say there's 165,000 in 2023, or by the end of 2023. And of course, also from Korea are the number of sales per year. 2023 is their forecasted number, as I showed you before. And you can see 2021 had record sales, and we are down towards 2018 levels or so right now. So we have a lot less sales, but again, a lot more agents. And looking at the average sale price by year. Now, if anyone watches this channel, which I'm sure a lot of you do, you know that I compile the monthly sales data, and I have it here. So I'm going to put them both up on the screen, but the monthly shows the monthly swings, obviously. But when you look at this data as a yearly averages, and 2023 has 6 months of data so far, you can see prices really haven't moved much at all, actually. They've been very flat, small declines actually this year in the last 3 years. So anyway, now we have flat prices combined with more agents and combined with less sales. So of course, that's going to bring down average wages for the average agent. And lastly, we have the number of MLS deals per agent per year. And on average, they are at 2.8, or will be at 2.8 with the Korea forecast this year. They were at just over 3 last year. But you can see how it's declined over time with the increase in the number of realtors. There was a lot less realtors back in 07. And now there's over 50% more agents. Sales probably haven't changed that much. They're at about a 10-year average right now, or just below it. But you can see back in 2007, they were at 5 deals per year, and over 4 until 2018, with 2021 being the exception. Okay, so now let's look at how much on average do the agents make, or how much has their wages changed in the last few years. So I didn't go too far back with the year-over-year changes, just because I wanted to keep this recent. But you can see in 2020, they had a 19% year-over-year increase in their wages. And then 2021 being the best year, and it was the best year. I made more than I ever made in real estate that year, and it was up 32% year-over-year. Now, as an agent, you have to know, just because you have a good year, you don't set your lifestyle on these earnings, which some agents do. They think, hey, this is great. And you get on this high and you think, this is never going to change. Like I'm on fire here. And that's not the case. You can have good years and bad years as an agent. So yes, some agents are humble and they're going to say this was a great year, but it's not always going to be like this. And other agents might have, increased their own expenses just to reflect that single year, and they'll be in trouble now if they haven't been already before then. But anyway, so they were up 32% in 2021. And of course, last year, agents on average took a 25% hit. So a big pay cut from the previous year. And we're down another 11.1% this year. And this is with prices remaining stable, not prices dropping any further. This is a stable market from here to the end of the year, which in my predictions, I think that we are going to see some further losses through the end of the year. So based on that, if we have a 5 to 10% decrease, further decrease in house prices, right now we're at 685,000 for the year for 2023 for the average price, all months combined. So if that went down to say 650, now you're at a 15 or over 15% loss. And of course, our wages return to 2019 or even 2018 levels. And if things get really bad, and this could happen next year, we could be at 2012, 2013 levels. So I think it's going to be a rude awakening for the realtors going forward. Again, less sales, more agents, and lower prices all combines to make lower incomes. And there is a lot of agents coming in. You'd think maybe the agents, it's not a best time to enter. Well, they're entering. They're full every week at these courses for new agents in Treb, because I had to book to join, and they were filling up fast. So there's a lot of new agents that are always coming online, and I don't see those numbers declining anytime soon. I'm sure once the market declines, a few years into declines, agents will start to leave the business. But right now they're still joining, it looks like. So now, lastly, I want to return to this new housing data chart from CMHC. This is on Stats Canada, but it's CMHC data. And there's a few things I've noticed about this. And I actually posted this on my Twitter today, and I just want to talk about them here. So at the bottom, you're going to see the housing starts and the housing completions. They're fairly in line with each other. They go up and down, but in general, they haven't really changed much since 1980, right? This chart goes back to 1980, this data. Now, looking at the homes under construction, you can see it peaks right before a financial or economic downturn. Looking at, say, 1989 to 1990, you could see they were at a high point, and we know what happened from history. There was an economic downturn and a housing crash or downturn, whatever you want to call it, in 1990 going forward, and the houses under construction dropped off. Then looking forward to the lead up to 2008, good economic times, lots of activity. People were buying houses, prices were going up, and of course, construction is going to increase. Everyone's making money, and once the financials crisis came, the houses under construction dropped off. And of course, now you have the run up. Looks like the price run up too, but we have a record number of homes under construction right now. Is this the run up to the decline? Well, I would say yes. This is probably a very good indicator, because you can see it's been right in line with the last two downturns, and we're definitely at a high point. I don't see it increasing much more than this, but what happens after that, it looks like So now we have almost 375,000 homes under construction right now, and of course, this does not include completions. This is just currently under construction. They've applied for their housing start, or they're registered their start, and they haven't been completed. So we have a lot of homes in that category at this point. And why is that? Now, I would say we have a record number of units under completion. I'm not going to call them homes, because of the condo buildings. A lot of starts have happened, but they haven't been completed because it takes years to complete condo buildings, as opposed to in history, when it took, a year to 2 years to complete a house or a housing project. And this is kind of backed up when you look at, the lines, the housing starts and the housing completions recently. The housing starts have pretty much consistently outnumbered the housing completions. So we've been starting a lot more homes than we've been completing, or units, I should say. So of course, they've been piling up in these condo pre-sales. So it looks like there's going to be an abundance, or there is a lag, because of these condo developments taking so long to finish, that we will see there's almost hidden inventory at this point, which will come online. And of course, when you look at assignment sales, you see there's way more condo assignment sales than there is freehold assignment sales on the MLS systems. So it makes sense that this inventory will be coming online. It's just kind of hidden in the data right now. So that's it for this week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.